Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you're here, because this space is all about fun, learning, and exciting content that you'll definitely enjoy. If you're new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Also, give this video a big thumbs up and share it with your friends, because the more we grow, the more amazing content I can bring for you. So sit back, relax, and let's dive right in. Let's go. The 1979 United States 5-cent coin, commonly called the Jefferson Nickel, is a modest but fascinating piece of American numismatic history that combines stable metal composition, a classic design, and everyday usefulness. It features on the obverse a dignified portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and author of the Declaration of Independence, and on the reverse the image of Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, a motif that tied the coin to American architecture and heritage for decades. The overall design lineage dates back to the 1938 introduction of the Jefferson Nickel, long-standing until the special westward journey designs in the early 2000s, and by 1979 the portrait and Monticello imagery was fully familiar to everyday Americans and collectors alike. Technically, the 1979 nickel is a small, robust coin. It measures about 21.21 millimeters in diameter, weighs approximately 5.00 grams, and has a plain edge. Its composition is the standard 75% copper and 25% nickel, cupro-nickel, clad alloy used for U.S. nickels throughout the 20th century. This alloy gives the coin its silvery appearance while keeping production costs reasonable. In production terms, 1979 examples were struck at the United States Mint facilities in Philadelphia, which carried no mint mark on coins produced there at that time. Denver, marked with a small d on the obverse, since Denver Mint nickels bore that mark, and San Francisco, which produced proof coins, marked S. Philadelphia pieces therefore appear without a mint letter and are sometimes listed simply as 1979. While collectors refer to 1979D and 1979S for Denver and San Francisco issues. The annual production included large numbers intended for general circulation and a smaller number of proof pieces for collectors. Because 1979 was not a year of composition change, emergency minting, or major design transition, the coins are common in circulation today and are generally easy to find in good condition, though high-grade specimens remain attractive to specialists. From a historical context, a 1979 nickel passed through an era of American life that saw economic challenges such as inflation and energy issues, and although the coin's face value of 5 cents has stayed the same, its purchasing power has diminished over time. Nevertheless, the nickel remained a mainstay of small transactions and a reliable part of pocket change, vending machines, and cash registers. For collectors, the 1979 nickel's appeal is practical. Circulated examples are abundant and inexpensive, making them ideal teaching pieces for new collectors learning to grade coins by eye and by feel. Uncirculated mint state coins, especially those graded by third-party services such as PCGS or NGC, command higher premiums depending on grade. MS60 through MS67 and above are the usual grading bands, with proof coins from San Francisco likewise valued more highly if they show deep mirrors, strong contrast, and no hairlines or contact marks. Common collector notes and things to watch for include striking quality. Some coins may show weak details on Jefferson's hair or on Monticello's architectural lines, planchette or striking defects. Minor ones are common in circulation, and surface issues such as bag marks or light abrasions that reduce eye appeal. There are no single, key date, rarities in 1979 nickels comparable to scarce pennies or half dollars, but near perfect, full-bellied, high-relief examples or specially preserved proofs can be satisfying prizes. If you're handling or grading a 1979 nickel, look closely at the fields around the devices for luster and toning, inspect Jefferson's cheek, jawline, and hairline for wear patterns, and study the steps and windows of Monticello on the reverse for sharpness. These details help determine the coin's grade and therefore its market value. In terms of market value, most circulated 1979 nickels are worth only face value up to a modest multiple of face value, often a few cents to $1 or $2, while uncirculated mint state pieces can be worth several dollars or more depending on grade, and certified high-grade or exceptional proofs can fetch higher collector prices. Keep in mind that metal melt value is below face for these modern cupro-nickel coins, so their value is almost entirely collectible rather than intrinsic metal-based. For those making videos or library entries about this coin, as the title, 5-cent United States America Coin Library 1979, suggests, useful talking points are the coin's place in the Jefferson Nickel series, its technical specifications, common condition and grading cues, how to distinguish mint marks, safe storage and handling, store in a cool, dry place, use acid-free flips or coin holders, avoid cleaning or polishing which damages value, and basic provenance. For instance, how to tell a proof deep mirror finish, sharp details from a business strike and why certified grading helps when buying or selling higher value pieces. Finally, for a well-rounded presentation mention collecting practicalities. Check rolls from banks for uncirculated survivors, examine pocket change for lustrous examples, and when purchasing expensive specimens insist on third-party certification. When describing the 1979 nickel story, emphasize that while it is not an extremely rare or headline-making issue, it is a durable, historically rooted coin that connects everyday Americans to the image of Thomas Jefferson and the architecture of Monticello, and it remains a friendly, accessible entry point into U.S. coin collecting that carries both educational value and quiet appeal for hobbyists. The 1985 5-cent is part of the Jefferson Nickel series that began in 1938 and by 1985 still carried the long-running Felix M. Schlag portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Monticello home on the reverse. Schlag's winning design from the late 1930s remained the visual identity of the nickel for decades and is what you see on a typical 1985 specimen, a dignified left-facing bust of Jefferson, obverse, and a fairly detailed, classical depiction of Monticello, reverse. Physically, the 1985 nickel is a modern cupronickel-clad coin. The standard circulating composition with outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, producing a total mass of approximately 5.00 grams, a diameter of about 21.21 millimeters, a thickness near 1.95 millimeters, and a plain, smooth edge. These dimensions are the same specifications used for Jefferson nickels through most of the 20th century, aside from the special wartime composition of the early 1940s. In everyday life, the 1985 nickel functioned exactly as nickels had before: pocket change used for commerce, machines, transit, and coin rolls, and as a result most surviving examples are common and well circulated. From a collector's perspective, a few important themes matter when assessing a 1985 nickel: condition, grade, strike quality, especially the clarity of the Monticello steps on the reverse, mint mark and provenance, and the presence of any interesting die errors or varieties. Condition is everything. Circulated 1985 nickels will typically trade at or near face value, while uncirculated examples, mint state, can command modest premiums that rise with grade, from the low dollars for lower uncirculated grades up to higher premiums for deeply struck Mississippi 65 and above, but these premiums are moderate because 1985 is not a rare year. Proof coins struck for collectors, usually from the San Francisco Mint in the 1980s, are separate from business strikes and generally retain a higher collector value than their circulated counterparts. One popular collecting attribute for Jefferson nickels is the full steps designation, sometimes abbreviated FS, referring to sharply struck, fully separated steps on the Monticello reverse. Coins that show full, well-defined steps on the 4 levels of the building's stairs are sought by specialists and can add a meaningful premium because achieving full steps requires excellent strike and planchette alignment. Errors and varieties: off-center strikes, double dies, die breaks, repunched mint marks, clipped planchettes, and similar mint mishaps exist for 1985 as for many modern dates. Genuine, well-documented errors can be collectible and occasionally valuable depending on rarity and grade, but many alleged errors, or simply post-mint damage or cleaning effects, so accurate identification matters. When evaluating a 1985 nickel, check the surface for wear patterns, high points on Jefferson's cheek, hair and shoulder wear quickly, examine the rim and fields for nicks or contact marks, and inspect the Monticello steps and details for strike completeness. For authentication and upscale valuation, collectors often send coins to a professional grading service, PCGS, NGC, ANAX, where they will receive a numerical grade and encapsulation, that provides price certainty but also incurs grading fees, so weigh the coin's likely market value beforehand. Storage advice. Keep coins in a stable, dry environment away from PVC plastics and harsh chemicals. Use acid-free flips, inert plastic holders, or coin albums and avoid cleaning your coins. Cleaning commonly lowers collector value and often leaves tool marks or altered luster that experienced graders penalize. Historically and culturally, the Jefferson nickel reflected mid-20th century continuity in U.S. small change design. By 1985 it had been a long-standing portrait of an American president in his home, and it would remain the familiar nickel to a generation of Americans until the early 2000s when temporary design programs briefly altered the reverse. For those wanting to buy or sell a 1985 nickel, realistic expectations are important. Typical business strikes in circulated condition are essentially face value collectibles, while uncirculated rolls, choice mint state pieces, or proof coins will attract modest collecting premiums. If you're hunting for the best specimens, look at certified auction records and price guides to see what MS graded 1985 nickels and FS designated pieces have realized recently. And if you're learning to grade at home, compare suspected high-grade pieces with high-resolution images from reputable graders to spot contact marks, hairlines, or die polish that reduce grade. Finally, if you're a content creator planning a 10-minute piece on the 1985 nickel, structure your narration to cover 1. The coin's basic specs and design. Credit to Felix M. Schlag. 2. The historical context of the Jefferson Nickel series. 3. A close visual walkthrough of obverse and reverse details. Mention the Monticello steps and how to spot full steps. 4. Grading and valuation basics. What makes a coin worth more than face. 5. Common errors and how to identify them. And 6. Practical care, storage, and buying tips. This will give your viewers both the factual backbone and the practical collector's guidance they need while keeping the story engaging and useful. The 1996 United States 5-cent piece is a standard-issue Jefferson nickel, a coin that continues the long-running Jefferson design first introduced in 1938, and in 1996 the coin retained the classic portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, on the reverse, both designs originally sculpted by Felix Schlag. The piece is a pre-westward journey. Jefferson Nickel. The major design changes to the nickel came later in 2004-2006, so visually and technically it matches the familiar Jefferson look collectors expect from the late 20th century. The technical specifications are the same as nearly all modern nickel issues of that era. 5.00 grams in weight, roughly 21.2 millimeters in diameter, a plain, smooth edge, and a cupro-nickel composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel. Specifications that determine the coin's heft, electromagnetic response, and how it will age or tonify over time. In 1996, business strikes were produced at the Philadelphia and Denver mints while proof coins were struck at San Francisco for collector sets. The reported mintages for 1996 are approximately 829,332,000 pieces from Philadelphia, 817,736,000 from Denver, and about 2,525,625 proof pieces from San Francisco. Large circulation numbers that mean typical circulated examples are common and generally worth only face value or small premiums unless they are unusually well preserved or possess an rare variety. Because of the high mintages, most 1996 nickels encountered in pocket change are worn and inexpensive. However, uncirculated mint state pieces MS60 Mega Siemens 65 and higher command steadily increasing interest among specialists, and certified high-grade examples can be worth several dollars to tens of dollars depending on grade, market demand, and whether a coin has exceptional eye appeal or original luster. Collectors also watch for minor varieties and striking anomalies, such as die gouges, double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, double rims, and other mint errors, because a common date like 1996 can suddenly become valuable if an authenticated, dramatic error is present. Such error pieces are rarer by definition and frequently appear on auction or specialist dealer lists rather than in general circulation. For identification, mint marks for 1996 business strikes appear to the right of Monticello on the reverse. D for Denver, none for Philadelphia except the P, which by 1996 appears on Philadelphia pieces, while San Francisco proofs are marked S. Knowing where to look for the mint mark and examining it under magnification is the first step in separating the common Philadelphia D pieces from San Francisco proofs or from pieces submitted for grading. When evaluating condition, follow the usual numismatic protocol. Examine centers of devices, Jefferson's cheek, hair details, Monticello's dome and columns for wear. Check the fields for contact marks or cleaning scratches, and note any iridescent toning or original mint luster. Original surfaces that have not been cleaned or abraded generally bring higher collector prices. If you plan to send coins to certification services PCGS, NGC, ANAX, package them carefully. Avoid cleaning. Cleaning typically reduces value, and document provenance when available. Certified population reports and auction records can help establish where a particular grade of 1996 nickel stands in the market. In terms of market value, circulated 1996 nickels typically trade only for a small premium over face, but uncirculated certified specimens MS63 and above, and especially any with striking errors or attractive untouched toning, can be worth significantly more. Check current price guides and recent auction results for up-to-date realizations since secondary market prices fluctuate with demand. For storage and long-term care, keep coins in inert holders, mylar flips, archival coin envelopes, or hard plastic slabs for certified coins. Control humidity and temperature to slow harmful corrosion, and handle by the edges with clean hands or cotton gloves to avoid oils or fingerprints. If you plan to clean coins for display, consult a professional first. Cleaning can permanently damage original surfaces and destroy numismatic value. Finally, if you are assembling a set or researching varieties, use reputable references, grade guides, PCGS, NGC census data, specialized Jefferson Nickel literature, and compare any suspected error with authenticated examples. Because the 1996 Jefferson Nickel is so common, a cautious approach and confirmation from experienced graders or auction records will protect you from misattributing a post-mint damage mark as a true mint error.